Greetings, this is Ty Brown with AthleticDirectorU. I'm here at the Ticketmaster headquarters, and I'm joined by Kat Frederick. She's the Chief Marketing Officer here at Ticketmaster. Greetings, Kat. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Kat, your career.
Yes.
You are a data and analytics person. Throughout your career, you focused on, let's just say, digital, media, e-commerce, and technology, helping companies to make decisions in high growth opportunity areas, right? When we talk about data and analytics, those are kind of buzzwords now, and everybody is realizing how important they are, but can you translate what that means for a company like Ticketmaster?
I think when you think of big data or you think of analytics, ultimately what you care about is what can I achieve with it. When we think about data, technology, analytics, et cetera, we're thinking about how do we harness that data to further how we have a one-to-one conversation with our fans, and how we drive consumer engagement and loyalty, and it's the exciting unlock from data that's really important.
Right, that one-to-one conversation that you mentioned. Don't communicate with me about the broad, huge things that are happening. I want you to focus on my personal experience. Talk about that.
I think the pace of consumer expectations is really driving where marketing needs to go. Modern day marketing can't be, for lack of a better word, spray and pray. It really needs to be, I'm having a conversation because I have a relationship with you. I know what your interests are. I know where you live. I know more and more about you as I develop a relationship with you. And therefore, as a consumer, as a fan, you can drive more value from it. And so you continue to contribute bidirectionally to that relationship. You express greater signals of intent, whether that's these are the types of events that I click on, or here's the kind of information that I'm willing to share with you, which is what is my appetite to sit in the lower bowl versus the upper deck? Am I going just me by myself? Am I going with groups? Do I go with my family? The more that we understand about what consumers are interested in, the better we can cater to their needs around what do I present to them? How do I present it to them? What channel? When? Do I buy early? Do I buy late? And all of those things become marketers' responsibilities to drive value in the lives of our fans.
As data is gathered, right? How do you process? And I imagine at a company like Ticketmaster, how do you process the enormous amounts of data that come across your desk or your team's desk, and then how do you use that information to advise those, I guess, in leadership who are final say in terms of decisions?
I think we always look at data, we look at the information that we have on our consumers as an opportunity to continue to enhance their fan journey. So if you think of the fan journey as everything from the moment where you spark awareness that a certain university's tickets are going on sale or that their next season is coming up, you start to think, okay, how does that decision-making journey happen? They go from awareness to consideration through purchase. Then after they make their purchase, the journey doesn't end there. You walk up to the moment where that next event or coming into the door, do they have all the information that they need to have a great event experience? Where do I park? How do I get into the event? Is there a clear bag policy? So those kinds of things, to the extent that we can be with our fans every step of the way, that's how we harness the data and make it more valuable across that fan journey.
Right. When you talk about being a chief marketing officer, I'd imagine talking to you now and when we're off camera that you started your career in the weeds, crunching numbers, looking at things. Now you're the chief marketing officer.
Right.
I mean, do you get to crunch numbers anymore? Or
I crunch numbers every day, in part because I think very old school traditional marketing was about gut and feel. It was about positioning and colors and how things make people feel. The nice thing about Ticketmaster, I have over 1 billion fans that come to my marketplace every year. it's not about what my gut thinks. It's about what consumers respond to. And I'm not going to put myself in the shoes of a 55-year-old in Wichita or a 18-year-old in Seattle. I'm going to allow the data to help me navigate how to drive the best personal consumer experience at scale. And that is why our data analytics, continuous testing, continuous test and learn allows us to make our marketing better every single day.
Right, and Ticketmaster is in the college athletic space. A lot of people watching the video probably work in some area tied to college athletics. How do you provide information so they can evaluate the decisions they're making when you're talking about people on the scale of a university or other organizations who...
I think our strategies are highly complementary. No one is going to know the heartbeat of a university the same way as the people who work there, the people who interact with those campuses every single day. So when I'm interacting with different universities, I'm trying to understand, what do you know and where are the gaps? Like, what is your objective? And how can we harness data to help you drive that objective? Whether it's, I have a really good understanding of my alumni program and how I engage them to come to, our football games and our basketball games, et cetera. And where those fans are most likely to convert. I complement that with Ticketmaster has over 100 million people in our database. So there's a lot of lookalike prospecting that we can also do to bring the next set of great buyers to the table as well. And so I think that those strategies and how we arm them with the insights and the data and the opportunity to go mine a new audience is critically valuable.
Right, it's very important. There are, in terms of leadership in college athletics, there are a number of different athletics departments who are hiring people who are focused on data analytics to advise them on direction and on decisions that could have huge implications in terms of what they're doing. What I always wonder about a leader who may not be a data and analytics person, who is receiving information from a data and analytics person, do you have to translate the information so that they know what decision to make? And in terms of leadership, if they aren't a data and analytics person, how do you, you're making suggestions, they make the final decision. Talk to me about that communications process.
I think there's three steps, right? You have raw data, you have insights, and you have outcomes. Okay. Generally, you have a conviction about what outcome you want to drive. When you sit at the scale and wealth of data that Ticketmaster does, this is a key to our pragmatism. We could go boil the ocean day over day over day about what does the data say, what does the data say. In order to drive an outcome, you have a series of hypotheses around how could you drive that. I can increase conversion rate by doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. Let me go get the insights, which relies on analysis of that data around these things. But I know what I'm looking for. I'm trying to disprove a set of hypotheses. You couple that. And when I say insights, I mean everything from your behavioral reporting. You look at your Google Analytics. What does the behavior say? You look at your transactional reporting and you say, these are the people who are buying. These are the people who are not buying. You look at, I look at my funnel. People falling out at this particular step, is that an opportunity for us? I'm looking at the data and we don't touch any of these kinds of people. Is that an opportunity or is that a signal that these people will never convert? So when you start to think about it that way, you're unpacking your hypotheses with data. To the extent that the data that you have today at your fingertips, a lot of it you're looking retrospectively. You have to couple that with talking to people. You have to talk to your fans. And so they're there to validate your hypotheses. They're there to give you new direction. They're there to help guide you on what works and doesn't work in their lives. But those are individual people. So you have to match the scale of what you can get from the data that you sit upon and use pragmatically the opportunity you have to talk directly to your fans to formulate your insights and lead you down a path that you think you're going to be much more successful at. And then you have to measure whether or not you're successful. So you have to validate your hypotheses with insights.
So that's what's interesting to me about data, right? I'm not a data and analytics person. I actually hope to be at some point in the future, if you can change and learn type thing. But that
we always welcome more nerds.
Right, like you mentioned before, it's not gut feeling, right? Here's what the information says. Let's analyze the information and figure out how to apply the information, and then we can go back and measure the information that we've analyzed and applied. I think that's an excellent part of where all business and specifically sports have gone. Of course, there are a lot of coaches who use it in terms of what they put on the field and how they make decisions in terms of athletics. But thinking about data and thinking about evolution of an industry, Ticketmaster relatively recently has gotten into the digital ticket space, right? And I think that that's a huge thing across the industry. There are other competitors in doing it. Everybody's getting into it. But talk about how your role as Chief Marketing Officer has helped to analyze and evaluate that decision to go into the digital ticketing space.
I'll use the analogy of the airline space.
Yes, ma'am.
When you think about how you want to reward loyalty in the airline space, you need to know who flew on the plane, who bought the ticket, and who attended the event are two different things. Your ability to understand behavior comes down to who's going to be sitting in my stadium. And right now, historically, the industry has only been able to see 1 in 4, 1 in 5, maybe in a great scenario, 1 in 3 people attending an event or buying a ticket to an event. But that leaves so much room for, as a marketer, you want to be talking to the person who was sitting in the stadium, who had that amazing experience, who saw that play that only happened once in a lifetime. Because that's where the emotion is. That's where you can harness that opportunity to say, this is something that is the fabric of the memories you're going to make. And as a marketer, getting more and more rich data about people's preferences, their choices to attend things. Right now, the industry, forget just the ticketing industry, the entertainment industry is in a war for attention and in a war for consumer engagement. We have to fight through that noise. The more that we can be very specific about what I merchandise to you versus what I merchandise to you means that we will cut through that noise. Consumers will see anywhere between 4,000 and 10,000 competing banner ads every single day. So how is your message going to resonate through? It will resonate if we have a relationship. If I, as a consumer, believe that you care about the things I care about. And the only way to do that at scale is to leverage the data and technology signals to route the right messages to the right fans, through the right channels, with the right events. And I think that that's really powerful when you unpack that. So it's an exciting challenge.
It sounds like it is, and it sounds like you're passionate about it. The thing you just touched on, it sounds like it can help to address what we see in college athletics. Well, I think also in professional athletics in terms of attendance numbers going down, right? But what you're saying is we figure out what people want. How can we get directly to them and have that one-on-one conversation?
Right, and particularly in the college space where you have students, you have alumni, people move around, you need to know, where is my fan base and where is my potential fan base beyond just alums? And because I live in the city, will I have some propensity and some affinity to go to, we're here in LA. Does that inherently make me a UCLA fan? Does that inherently make me a SC fan? What are the signals that are going to help me decipher that? Or I went to Bryn Mawr, which means I have no college athletics to speak of. But I also have ties back to MIT and back to Harvard. Does that naturally make me dislike Yale? No. But how do I pull all that together? And as a single university, how do I leverage the scale of the data that Ticketmaster has as being part of our platform? How does that unlock new opportunities for me to think beyond what I have at my disposal?
That's an interesting answer, Kat. I'll wrap with this last question here. Thinking about data and analytics nerds, like you mentioned, your words, not mine, right?
Nerds.
Thinking about that and thinking about college athletics, there are a number of either athletics directors or people who are ascending relatively fast in the college athletics administration area who are data and analytics people. If you can give some words of advice to people who are in that area, data and analytics, but then also are striving to be leaders, like, do you have any advice for people to tie those two together? Because you've obviously done it here at Ticketmaster, big, huge company, and you're the chief marketing officer. So any advice would be great.
I'd break it down in a couple of different ways. One, as a self-proclaimed nerd, we generally err on the side of being introverted. The key to making data and analytics come to life is through partnership across the organization. You need to develop relationships all across your organizations to think about what business outcomes that data is really going to generate. What growth is that going to help unlock? And really be pragmatic about how data can help solve an organization's opportunities to grow. And for me, I think that that's a major unlock for my own career. It has been an unlock for my career to be really outcome oriented. And so data and analytics on an island is not the key. It's how do you infuse a data-driven culture behind your decision-making framework across an organization to drive growth. So just because you have a function does not mean you'll be successful. Just because you have that orientation doesn't mean that you're going to be successful. It's that deep partnership across business, data, product, experience that really brings that to life in engagement with your fans, in engagement with our clients. How do you socialize the value behind data internally and externally?
You take it beyond numbers and add a social aspect to it, and that'll help as you become a leader in this sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's how do you arm the leadership across an organization with the right information to make successful decisions that drive growth.
Which is a valuable thing to do. I really appreciate you joining us here on Athletic Director U.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was Kat Frederick. She's the Chief Marketing Officer here at Ticketmaster. And of course, this is Ty Brown with Athletic Director U. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today.